Captain Underpants, the first epic movies directed by David Soren, who previously directed Turbo, and stars Thomas Middleditch, Kevin Hart, Ed Helms, Nick Kroll, and Jordan Peele, and is the first epic movie of the Captain Underpants franchise that we can assume is gonna happen. And if you don't know what they are, you're probably in the wrong place. When I was a wee little lad, I was kind of a big fan of all the Captain Underpants books. And so going into this film, I haven't read the books for quite some time, but I was looking forward to reliving my childhood and having this sort of a nostalgia factor. And when we got the first trailer, I kind of felt that. The movie looked really good, and I was looking forward to seeing it. And I'm happy to say that it's a really fun and good movie overall. It stays extremely true to its source material, it has a great level of comedy, the voice acting's good, and it hits all the right notes. Going to the source material, you have your two main characters, George and Harold, played by Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch, respectively. And you also have the mean principal, Mr. Krupp, who's voiced by Ed Helms. And George and Harold turn Mr. Krupp into their favorite comic book hero that they made themselves, Captain Underpants. And he sort of thinks he can solve crime even though he's a fat guy wearing underwear. And so, for a kid's movie, it's super cartoony, you get tons of laughs, it's almost like a laugh-a-minute movie. It kind of reminded me of the similar kind of comedy that the Lego movies do, Lego Movie and Lego Batman, sort of that. I like all the cutaways they use, kind of, I don't know if Family Guy originated that, but they use some of those. For instance, there's this awesome cutaway where they're talking about how sad they're gonna be. We're talking about George and Harold, where they might switch classes, and so they won't be together. And so it switches to this really funny sock puppet sequence that kind of came out of nowhere, and it was absolutely hysterical. And the pacing of this movie is where it kind of lacks. The first 20 minutes is absolutely hysterical. I was laughing the entire time. It was just a super solid, but in the middle of the movie, the pacing starts to really come to a halt, and you don't really know what's going on. They only introduce their villain kind of there. Nothing really happens until the third act. I gotta say, the voice acting is good. Thomas Middleditch and Kevin Hart are really good. Kevin Hart really doesn't steal the show, which is something I wasn't really used to, but he was good. It's hit or miss having them as child voice actors or not. Clearly they're not here, but I think it works. Ed Helms is also really good as Principal Krupp / Captain Underpants. He was super funny. So was Nick Kroll as Professor Poopy Pants. He also does his classic Swedish voice that he used in Sing. I don't even know if Nick Kroll actually is Swedish or he just does it really well, but he does that here, and it's funny. Poopy Pants is a really funny villain, and I enjoyed his jokes. But personally, the star of the show has got to be Jordan Peele, who's playing a nerdy, privileged, white 8-year-old, and if you don't know, Jordan Peele's black, and he directed Get Out, which is a really socially racial, controversial film, and so it's just super funny that he did this, but the voice he does is perfect, and every second he was on screen I was laughing, just thinking in my head of him in the voice actor booth, because the voice he does in this movie is hysterical, and you wouldn't know it was him. Honestly, there's not much more to say. I hope we get other movies. They kind of set that up, and I will enjoy this. I think kids will enjoy it too. And parents, if they have this kind of sense of humor, they'll be having a good time, I promise that. But if you're like, ugh, I need to take my kid to a movie, you might be disappointed and you might want to blow your brains out because you're not getting a cinematic masterpiece here. I would give Captain Underpants a 7 out of 10. It's a fun movie. The entire family can like it if they like that sort of humor, and it hits the good notes. It's kind of smart and clever too. So, I'd like to give a shout out to 20th Century Fox, DreamWorks, and David Soren, the director, for hosting this screening tonight in Toronto, Canada. He lived here, he went to Sheridan College, which is an animation school, and he brought all the animation students currently to come see the movie tonight, which I thought that was super sweet, and it just seemed like a nice warm feeling, because that's sort of what Canada's like. So guys, hope you liked my review. Like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends that Captain Underpants was good and that your friend Ben Shane told you so. Alright guys, that's it. Have a good night. Bye.